Alright, let's talk about something that could shake up the entire housing market. $50,000 in home price cuts across the board. That's what's being promised in a brand new executive order, and if this goes through, we could be looking at one of the biggest shifts in real estate in decades. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds too good to be true. Could home prices actually drop by that much? Who benefits from this change? And is there a catch? Well, stick around, because I'm breaking down everything you need to know. We'll cover what's in the plan, who stands to gain or lose, and most importantly, how you can position yourself to take advantage of what's coming. And trust me, if you're even thinking about buying or selling a home, you need to hear this. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to Benefit Genius. We break down complex financial topics so you can stay ahead of the game and make smart money moves. Now, let's get into it. So, what exactly is happening? A few hours ago, an executive order was signed that aims to cut home prices significantly by reducing government regulations. The order is being called an emergency relief package to tackle the cost of living crisis, and it focuses on making housing more affordable. Now, on paper, this sounds amazing. But let's break it down. One of the biggest claims in this plan is that government regulations alone are adding tens of thousands of dollars to the price of a new home. Think about that for a second. You're looking at a house that costs $400,000, but according to this order, up to $100,000 of that price is due to excessive regulations, zoning laws, and bureaucratic delays. The goal here is to slash those costs by cutting red tape, making it easier for developers and homebuilders to bring more houses to the market. So, in theory, this should lower home prices and increase supply. But is it really that simple? Let's talk about the winners and losers in this scenario. If you're a real estate developer, this is huge. Fewer regulations mean fewer delays, faster construction, and lower costs. For homebuyers, this could mean more homes on the market and potentially lower prices, at least in the short term. But what about first-time buyers? Will they actually benefit, or will this just make things even more competitive? That's where things get complicated. Because here's the thing, just because prices drop doesn't mean homes will be easier to buy. As soon as buyers see prices going down, demand could skyrocket. More people could jump into the market, leading to bidding wars and prices getting pushed right back up. And that's not even considering the investors. If homes become cheaper to build and regulations are loosened, large investors and corporations could start buying up more properties. This could turn what should have been an opportunity for first-time buyers into another challenge. Now, let's talk about something even more unexpected, the new Department of Government Efficiency. This new department is supposed to oversee housing reforms and cut down on wasteful spending. The idea is to streamline the housing process, making it faster and more efficient. But what does that really mean? Could this make it easier to get a mortgage? Could it remove certain consumer protections? Could it change how housing loans work? There are still a lot of unanswered questions. And speaking of big changes, this order also takes aim at environmental regulations. It promises to cut restrictions on energy usage and building materials to lower costs. For builders, this is great news because it means fewer delays and lower expenses. But the other side of this argument is that relaxing these standards could have long-term consequences, from higher energy bills for homeowners to environmental damage. So here's the real question. Should we focus on cutting costs today, even if it could lead to higher expenses in the future? Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear your take on this. Now, let's talk about some major shakeups happening in the housing industry. There are new leadership changes at federal housing agencies, and that could have a major impact on everything from mortgage rates to home financing. The new pick for housing secretary is known for his work in real estate investment and opportunity zones. This could mean more private investment into housing, but it could also mean more corporate control over the market. And then there's the new head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. This agency oversees mortgage giants like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which play a huge role in home loans. With new leadership, we could see big policy changes, but will they help everyday buyers or just benefit large financial institutions? That remains to be seen. And here's where things get even more interesting: the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. There's talk of major reforms to this agency, which is responsible for mortgage oversight and protecting consumers from predatory lending practices. If it's weakened or eliminated, it could mean fewer restrictions on lenders, but it could also mean fewer protections for homebuyers. So the question is, does cutting regulations help buyers, or does it just make it easier for corporations to control the market? Now, let's talk about tariffs. There are rumors that new tariffs could be introduced on Canadian and Mexican imports, including lumber. And if that happens, it could drive up construction costs, making homes more expensive to build. Last time tariffs were introduced on Canadian lumber, home building costs rose by nearly $9,000. So even if regulatory cuts lower prices, higher material costs could cancel out those savings. Now, what does this all mean for you? Here are 3 critical things to keep in mind. First, if you're planning to buy a home in the next year, you need to understand how the market could shift. Prices might drop initially, but if demand spikes, they could go right back up. If you're in a high-regulation market, like San Francisco, Seattle, or Boston, you could see the biggest changes. These cities have some of the strictest building regulations, so any rollback in red tape could have a big impact on prices. Second, if you're currently building a home, you need to act fast. Potential tariffs on construction materials could drive up costs in the next few months. Talk to your builder now about locking in material prices before increases hit. And third, keep an eye on mortgage rates. If regulations change in the lending industry, we could see new loan products, lower down payment requirements, or shifts in interest rates. Stay informed, and don't wait until the last minute to secure financing. So, where does all of this leave us? There are a lot of moving pieces in the housing market right now. This new executive order could bring some relief to homebuyers, but it could also introduce new challenges. And the key takeaway here is this: markets are unpredictable. If you're waiting for the perfect time to buy, you might miss the opportunity. And if you're thinking about selling, these changes could impact how much your home is worth. So, what do you think? Will this plan help make housing more affordable, or will it just create more competition and drive prices right back up? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Benefit Genius for more updates on housing, finance, and smart money moves. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.